Zelda's second quest is incredible. If you're a masochist... Hang on. Let's rewind and I'll give you some context. Many of you may be familiar with the second quest's deep lore, but for those of you who aren't, here's the origin of this bloodbath of a game. Takashi Tezuka, the original Legend of Zelda's co-director, was also responsible for its dungeon design. He designed these dungeons, then called labyrinths, on graph paper, and to stay within the NES's hardware limits, fit them together like interlocking pieces. He then passed these onto programmer Toshihiko Nakago, who constructed the game's map data exactly as it was given to him. Lo and behold, Tezuka had only used half the game's available data, making the game half as big as intended. Miyamoto, in an especially diabolical stroke of genius, felt the reduced map made for a better game, and suggested they hide another entire game in it. Thus, the second quest was born. Fittingly, the second quest can be unlocked in two ways: after beating the base game where Link gets a little sword, or, alternatively, naming your character Zelda immediately unlocks the second quest. See, you could have been playing as Zelda all along. The allure of the second quest is that, while the overworld remains largely unchanged, it rearranges and remixes many of the dungeon, item, and shop locations, offers completely new dungeon layouts, and makes many enemies stronger. You've just conquered a game that has engaged you to think, tested your reflexes and navigational knowledge, and now, as a newly dubbed hero, you feel as if you can take on this world's next great challenge. You're a fool! This game doesn't like you. Its attempts at communicating its design principles are delivered as mockery. Please let me show you. If you intend on playing the second quest, finish it, as here it will be summarily spoiled. The start of my playthrough of the second quest felt like what I imagined playing the original did in the 1980s, though I had my foggy memory of the base game to rely on. What I enjoyed at the beginning was I had to make some tough decisions. Because I found the blue ring almost immediately and entirely by accident, I wanted to upgrade my defense before wasting rupees to unlock the western and northern portions of the map, as I didn't remember the sequence for getting through the Lost Woods. Anywho, I found Dungeon 1 with relative ease, but it was quickly apparent that navigation was much more reliant on finding hidden staircases, the underground paths, and bombing nondescript walls. In trying to find Dungeon 2, I stumbled upon the entrance to Dungeon 7. I eventually did find Dungeon 2, and this is where things got questionable. Now, you can only enter this room from one direction. The setup of this room is screaming at you, but let the record show I'm only here because I want to go to every room on the map, which could mean I never unravel this room's secret. This has unspeakable consequences. As I was saying, something is definitely at the end of this path. I kill all the enemies, I bomb the wall, I push all the blocks. Nothing. So I leave to go beat the boss, grab the Triforce, and dip. But something isn't sitting right with me, so I go back to this room. Try another bomb, mistakenly hold down and toss the boomerang, and... What?! I do the equivalent of a double take before heading down to grab the flute. Everything has changed. The natural borders of the game are illusory and can no longer be trusted. Hardly any other wall where this is possible is ever telegraphed to you in the future, by the way. Trying to avoid a headfirst dive into psychosis, I pay for the info through the Lost Woods, pick up some more items, and by Dungeon 3, I've developed what I call an intuitive paranoia. Certain rooms just don't feel right. By indulging this instinct, I find the Triforce piece almost immediately, without fighting a boss. My sanity starts to cleave. I trudge back in to complete every room in the dungeon because I don't want to miss anything valuable. Surely there's something valuable. The room becomes too manic for the frame rate to keep up. And of course, I run into this friggin' guy. I spend a frustrating amount of time looking for Dungeon 4 and almost miss it walking off the screen. Now I'm randomly running into bosses and these red bubbles who take away my ability to use my sword unless I run into a blue bubble who seems to be programmed to evade me. I run into this devil's bargain, push blocks, uncover tunnels, evade this bullet hell of a boss fight, and, you know, my paranoia is acting up. What? What? Huh? What? Somewhere in this fever dream, I find the raft and get to Dungeon 5, which introduces Wiz Robes. Reality is shattering around me as I do the thing, I do the thing, I do the thing, and then... Screeching halt. I wander Hyrule endlessly for hours. I cannot find Dungeon 6. Every ounce of me is shrieking that I will be stuck in this perpetual purgatory where I cannot find Dungeon 6. Until I do. Because I looked it up. Because otherwise I'd still be looking for it. A shriveled husk of myself. This is where I admit to myself that I'm no longer coherent. I'm not having fun with the second quest. I'm just finishing what I started.
What you started. I didn't start it.
Look upon my works, ye mighty, in despair.
So I get the thing, I do the thing, I run into and bomb random walls because all semblance of what is good and true has escaped me. Do some of this, do the thing, do the same for Dungeon 7, even though half the tunnels are one-way trips to the near beginning of the dungeon. An apt metaphor for my efforts. I would literally have never found Dungeon 8. But once entered, never have I more flippantly shook the laws of physics to the wind and walked through so many walls. I run into this guy again! But I get the thing, another one, do the thing, and Moses smell the roses. I'm on my way at last to Dungeon 9. If you're ever wondering what goes through the mind of someone who enjoys the second quest, play Dungeon 9. It's a cornucopia of sadistic confusion. A twisting stage for me, the mindless puppet, to traipse across the abstract face of Hyrule's demonic pig oppressor. Look at what it's done to me! So I get the thing, I get the other thing, do the thing, and in a moment beyond self-reflection, I end this nightmare in a firework of blood and guts and gore. Save the princess and begin the arduous process of reconstituting the scattered fragments of my broken psyche with tape, glue, spit, whatever will hold it together. The second quest is a maniac's wet dream. It appeals to lunatics swaddled in straitjackets shut up in the dingy recesses of an asylum, and those who get off on self-induced blunt force trauma. It isn't easy, it isn't fair, it isn't fun. I would rather eat my own face than replay it. But if you like an unreasonable challenge, if you enjoy bathing in a tepid pool of your own suffering, if you're foolhardy enough to challenge death to a staring contest fully convinced it'll blink first, then Zelda's second quest is the game for you.